Looking at the trading week beginning May 19th, markets had a strong finish with all four indices finishing the week positive. Next week, stock markets are likely to open digesting a flood of weekend negotiations, ranging from tariffs and global conflicts to potential movement on tax legislation. These developments could generate a wave of headlines, potentially setting the tone for early week risk sentiment. Watch the flight to safety trade. And when I'm talking about flight to safety, I'm talking about gold, the US dollar, the yen, and the Swiss franc, which definitely showed signs of that safety trade unwinding last week. In the bond market, yields edged higher across the curve between May 9th and May 16th. The two-year yield rose from 3.88% to 3.97%, the five-year from 4% to 4.05%. The 10-year rose from 4.37% to 4.43%, and the 30-year yield went from 4.83% to 4.9%. Retail earnings will take center stage next week as investors continue to monitor the health of the U.S. consumer following disappointing retail sales and a jump in inflation expectations in the University of Michigan consumer sentiment data that was released last week. On the earnings front, we have 75 companies with market caps over $1 billion reporting next week with a heavy retail focus, including Home Depot, Lowe's, TJX, Ross Stores, and Target. Other major names include Baidu, Trip.com, Viking Holdings, Snowflake Technologies, Workday, Intuit, Palo Alto Networks, Analog Devices, Keysight Technologies, Zoom Communications, and Medtronics. A couple of central bank speakers next week. We have New York Fed President John Williams, who actually speaks 3 times. And then we get Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic. There could be others announced on the weekend and next week. Key economic data include China's industrial production and unemployment rate on Sunday night, followed by EU CPI and Chinese interest rate decision and possible stimulus details on Monday. Tuesday brings a Reserve Bank of Australia rate decision and Canadian CPI. UK CPI and Japanese PMI come out on Wednesday. Thursday, we get releases from Germany, the EU, the UK, and the US. That's the small to medium-sized business PMI. The weekend's Friday with UK and Canadian retail sales and US new home sales.